Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a riverbank at first light, the smell of wet wood and fish, the slow coil of rope in an old fisherman's hand, the soft rat-a-tat of a splice being pulled tight. A gull cries, a boatman calls, and there is a patient rhythm, hands returning to the same knot they've known since childhood. What stories do these hands keep? What knowledge is braided into every cord? Today, we follow those hands along the Mekong and the coast and listen.
Welcome to Ancient Echoes. I'm your host, Sam Nang Bradley. This episode is called Knots of the Mekong. It's a quiet kind of archaeology, not of stone, but of fiber and touch. I'll be guiding you through materials, the kinds of knots you'll hear about, the people who repair nets and lash boats, and the small rituals that fold care into work.
And I'm Rachana. I'll chime in with context and stories from the villages and markets where these practices live. We're keeping this high level. No one here will learn to splice a rope from the audio. Instead, we'll listen to what knot knowledge tells us about labor, safety, and relationships.
First, a plain language primer. Fibers matter. In different coves and river towns, you'll find rattan bindings on bamboo gear, coir, coconut fiber, used for durable lashings, strips of old sarong or fabric turned into quick cord in a moment of need, and increasingly, modern polypropylene twine, light, cheap, and strong. Each choice signals resource flows, what's locally available, what a family can afford, and what kind of work a rope must do.
From the cultural side, material names carry memory. A grandmother's phrase for coir will be different from the market seller's word for the same rope. Those words tell stories of trade, migration, and sometimes improvisation when supplies were scarce. The layers matter, the material, the maker, and the story sewn into every repair.
Now, let's walk the slipway and listen to knots at work. You'll hear families using simple forms, loops, bindings, overhands, that are less about flair and more about purpose. A fisher's reef knot is about joining two lines temporarily. A lash that holds a cargo crate is about distributing load. A loop tucked under a gunnel might be a quick safety hold. Notice, I'm not giving step-by-step instructions. These are descriptions, so you understand the why, not how.
And the way someone describes a knot can show pride. A net mender will name a stitch in a way that points to a family line. My mother taught me this bind. And that oral breadcrumb connects craft to lineage. That's where culture lives, in the language around practice, the metaphors people use when they teach, and the small, repeated movements that shape a life.
Let me paint 3 short vignettes. First, a morning with an elder net mender. She sits on the low quay, a repaired net across her knees. Fingers work fast, patching holes, retying worn loops. Each mend is mapped to seasons, the big repairs after floodments, small top-ups between trips. Nets carry family lines. Patched places often show who traveled where and when.
Second, a launch crew on a gray morning before the monsoon. They splice moorings, check the lashings that hold crates for market. There's a practical grammar here. Tighten for expected strain, leave a little give where a snag might form. Load wisdom, knowing how weight behaves on a bobbing deck, gets folded into these lashings, taught at a parent's knee rather than read from a book.
Third, a small ritual, an achar tying a protective cord around a hull before a seasonal blessing. It looks simple, just string and a few knots, but it ties intention to craft. The ritual binds safety, community wishes, and the unpredictability of the river. That bond between material practice and spiritual care is quintessentially Cambodian.
Talking about repairs and livelihoods means also talking about the economics and market of mending.
Many berthside menders work by barter or accept a small payment and often food. They keep livelihoods afloat in slow seasons by offering quick repairs. But there's a shift. Synthetic ropes are cheaper and change repair cycles. A polypropylene twine may last longer against salt, but can change how people mend and who benefits financially from repairs.
Gender shapes access to which knots and rolls. In some places, women are the primary net menders. In others, heavy lashings on boats are taught to sons. Apprenticeship rhythms, who gets taught, when, and over what tasks, reveal a lot about household roles and how cultural knowledge moves or gets restricted. These patterns are always changing. Migration, schooling, and new materials shift who learns what.
We must be explicit about safety and respectful practice. Please, do not touch gear or step onto slipways without permission. Slipways are slippery. Nets and ropes can trap feet. If you want to learn, seek a vetted, paid workshop or a guided visit. We will point you towards Samnon's visual guides and trusted community partners for supervised learning.
And here are simple, short consent phrases you can use if you're near a boat or a mender, Khmer and a helpful transliteration. May I touch this net? Khmer, Knyom ad ba sambok ni bante. Transliteration, Knyom ad ba sambok ni bante. And always, thank you. Khmer, Alkun, Orkun. Use these gently. If someone says no, accept it and consider offering payment or asking about a commissioned repair instead.
A quick word on what we will not do. We won't give step-by-step knot instructions here. There's a real risk. Describing technical splices over audio can encourage unsafe attempts. Instead, if you want hands-on learning, seek in-person workshops led by local makers. We'll share vetted recommendations on our show notes and Samnang's YouTube for supervised visual guides.
There's also a privacy and market risk. Naming small maker practices or precise market spots can invite unwanted attention. If you share photos or videos of repairs, please respect makers' wishes. Tag them only with permission, and consider anonymizing images if they ask. Sending work through our channels allows makers to approve or request removal.
Before we close, I want to return to the image of the hands. Knots are a way of knowing. They record seasons, kinship, migration, scarcity, and care. A repaired net holds a household's risk management. A lash remembers a market trip. A blessing cord carries intention. Listening to these small practices helps us see how everyday craft holds memory and meaning.
And for those listening far from Cambodia, members of the diaspora, students, and travelers, remember that these are living practices. Approach with curiosity, humility, and a willingness to compensate and listen. When you return home, the small lessons about care, repair, and respect can change how you think about material culture in your own communities.
That brings us to the end of our walk along the quay. If you'd like to keep exploring, we've got links in the episode notes to Samnong's annotated visual guides and to a short list of vetted workshops and community partners who teach knot and net care in supervised settings. Thank you for listening and for learning to see these small technologies as carriers of heritage.
Let's unlock the echoes of history together.
In the quiet of night, I whispered my plea, holding her close, hoping for her decree. I called upon spirits, asked them to guide, to take her heart and lead her by my side. So I drew her near, traced her brow so fair on my sight this way. Swahili mighty spirit awaken. By the master's right, let her heart be gently taken. Let her follow me now by vow and by sign. I hear these words, oh teacher, witness this plea. Oh, my sacred power, Swahili.